Welcome to We Are Everyone, a video and podcast series powered by Pivotal Moments, and we focus on the intersection of mental wellness in the workforce. We bring together young professionals and mindful executive mentors to bridge the generational gap and bring to the surface conversations about the importance of mental wellness and how to overcome career tradition challenges. Mental wellness is paramount. Join us. Welcome to We Are Everyone. I am your host, Jenn Sherman, and I would love to wish everyone a happy new year. We're back in action here with a new season. And I would love to start off the season with an amazing guest, Kelsi Tafaro. She is the executive director of NeuroSound Music Therapy. And she is going to talk all about how the art of music can be very therapeutic for individuals of, I suppose, probably all ages, right, Kelsi?
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. So Kelsi, before we dive into the crux of the interview, could you kind of give a little bit of background about yourself to the audience?
Absolutely. First, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really happy to share about music therapy and a little bit about the work that we do. My name is Kelsi Tafaro. I was born and raised in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and I currently live in Northern Virginia with my wonderful husband and my spunky little 1-year-old. I attended Shenandoah University in Winchester, Virginia, where I got my undergraduate in music therapy and then my master's in special ed. So while in my graduate program, I started my career in special education in the public school system. And that's really what helped shape my expertise and my work for working with disabled individuals. And then in 2015, I started NeuroSound Music Therapy after recognizing that there was a huge need for community music therapy services and for person-centered and accessible services. So NeuroSound Music Therapy is located in Fairfax, Virginia. And we have a team of 5 music therapists currently that provide music therapy services and adapted music lessons to people of all ages and abilities in Northern Virginia. And when I'm not running my business, I like to travel and explore new places with my family, hike, kayak, and sing.
I love it. I love it. So you are an artist yourself.
I am, yeah. So I'm a vocalist. I actually got into college originally for vocal performance. And even before I got there, I changed my major to music therapy. But I'll touch on that probably a little bit later.
That's awesome. Well, I guess that kind of goes into how did music therapy enter your life and what made you decide to pursue that path?
Yeah. Yeah, so this is actually one of my favorite questions to answer. My parents instilled a love for music very early on as a child. So I started playing piano in 2nd grade, and then I switched to voice lessons in the 6th grade. In 8th grade, I started taking voice lessons from a woman who truly, absolutely intimidated me. She was spirited and dramatic and honest and confident, and all of those as an 8th grader, I was not. So her name was Mrs. Aubrey, and she wasn't just a voice teacher, she was a true mentor. And as part of being part of her studio, she required us to perform and volunteer in the community at nursing homes for the holidays, at Memorial Day events for veterans, and with the symphony orchestra for special events. So she didn't just believe in having us perform, she believed in having us share our talents with the community in order to bring people joy. At the end of each performance, she would have us go around and shake all the people in the audience's hands and thank them for attending. And at the time, it was extremely uncomfortable as, you know, an 8th or 9th grader. But looking back, she was really teaching us how to connect with people on a personal level and the importance of going out of your way to acknowledge their presence. And it was definitely through these experiences that I realized that I wanted to use my talents and my art to help people and bring positive change to the world. So like I said, I got accepted into Shenandoah originally for vocal performance for opera and classical music. And prior to even starting there, I changed my major to music therapy because I knew I wanted to help people and not perform for the rest of my life.
I love that. And so, actually you would, we definitely have to connect you with one of our previous guests, Cecily. She has a magical voice. Like, I feel like it's just transcendent. And, again, I don't know the certifications of things, of whether or not, like, you can, if you can have guests who are not necessarily certified, but she would be great. So I'll just side note that as a introduction. But I mean, what's so magical about what you're saying is that, taking the art, I think that's really what the focus of this new season is going to be, is like being able to take art and be able to not, of course, we love our artists, we love our Spotify top 10 or top 20, but in art for me, or music for me really does move me. It brings me back to these emotional, sometimes dark, sometimes happy places, but applying it to really help people with a scientific approach is just so awesome. So I love that that is one of your big missions in life. So I guess question for you, because as I'm listening to, I'm a triple water sign if you're into astrology. So I feel all the things. I was in denial of it for a while. And then I'm like, okay, I'm a feelings person. And so when I listen to music, I can see, like, when I was going through this morning, listening to some music, and I like sometimes have to skip over some songs because I was like, I don't want to go back to that place right now, And so I'm wondering, what's the purpose, science, and process behind music therapy?
Yeah, so you bring up a really good point. Music has a really powerful effect on our emotions. Like you said, sometimes a song can like snap you right back to a very specific event in your life, whether that's good or traumatic. So, it has the ability to make people feel happy and sad and energized or excited or relaxed. And you don't necessarily need music therapy to experience those changes in your mood and emotion. But music therapists are trained and certified to really help clients, process through those feelings. Sometimes they're just bigger than us, and we need a professional to kind of help us process through that. So whether that's, processing songs and the lyrics and the themes behind them and how they relate to our lives, or writing a song to express our feelings and listening to how the artists connect with that. But science really has proven that music releases mood enhancing chemicals in our body. So specifically dopamine and several endorphins. So music therapists use music to alter mood states. So often, we might have a client that comes in that's extremely agitated, and we want to get them to a place where they're calm and more relaxed. So we're not going to start right off the bat with a calm and relaxing song. We're going to meet them where they are, which is called the ISA principle. We're going to meet them where they are in that agitated state and use music that, might kind of reflect where they're at. And then as we go on in the session, we're evolving with the music and getting them to more of a place of a positive and calm state. And the music will then reflect that as we move through the session. There's neurologically, music really has effects on the brain and the neuroplasticity of the brain and how we can change neuropathways. And then also psychologically too, really has some, and physiologically, really has some effects on the body and the heart rate and the breathing patterns and all of that. So it really is a whole body experience. And, it really has really beneficial impacts on people.
Yeah, because this is fascinating. I could, I could probably talk about this from such a perspective. But my question is too, with, music therapy in regards to like showing up and, being frustrated, right? And I love that you said that you meet them where they're at, because, that's where the difference between kind of, if you're child rearing and don't have the scientific or psychologist background, you assume that you're like, okay, how do I calm a baby down? Let's just say, right? Soothing music. But the baby is not in that zone sometimes. The baby is trying to soothe itself and it's anger. It's like, how can you actually meet them in the state that they're at and then transition to like that place you want to take them? So, I find that really fascinating, just in general. And so how do you, I guess, just kind of thinking about that process, like if, for example, like if a song that is actually somewhat, let's just say it's like a 9 Inch Nails song, which is like pretty intense, but that actually brings me happiness, right? But which I'm not saying it, but let's just as an example. If that's the case, then like, how do you understand like kind of is it the patient's or client's behaviors? Like it's not like one size fits all with like agitated music versus calming music.
Absolutely. So a big part of music therapy is using client preferred music, and really building that rapport and therapeutic relationship with the client and knowing what their preferences are. And like you said, if Nine Inch Nails is what like calms you, we're not going to be getting to that point of using calming piano music and relaxation instrumental. We're going to get you to a point where, we're going to explore that song and why it brings you that calming effect, and what aspects and what elements of the music really, make you feel calm and why it's therapeutic for you.
I love that. And then also like for music therapy, is it used as just for the audience to understand, is it used as a way where you have the music and then you talk? Like, is it kind of like you play it and then you kind of have it as a tool instrument to extrapolate like what's going on inside the brain and like really be able to hone into those emotions? So is it used as a tool with talk therapy?
So it really depends on the clientele that we're working with. Obviously, nursing homes we're working with, our goals and our objectives and our strategies that we're using are going to be very different. Whenever we're talking about the mental health side of things and mental health facilities that we work in, it could be active listening to music and analyzing the songs, but also we do a lot of songwriting. So we might take out parts of a song, and have fill in the blank for the clients to kind of incorporate their own feelings and what that song means to them. And also, we might be doing some active music making. So we might be doing, a percussion ensemble as a group, and we might be doing a rainstorm. And, we could use drums and rain sticks and thunder tubes, and discussing the escalation and the de-escalation in the music and how that relates to life. And then also the highs and lows of the song and how it relates. And so a lot of themes come out, whether we're, doing active music making or passive listening or even songwriting, and really, just kind of discussing that and processing through the motions and how it relates to the clients.
That's interesting. Just because I feel like just for some context, because I mean, I don't know if I would walk in and like there's, we're beating of the drums and I'm not sure if it's
Right.
it just depends. I'm sure, of course, it's always customized, if you will. So kind of transitioning to a topic here at Pivotal Moments that we speak about a lot. And I think this term has evolved, right? And I think it's evolved in a sense of like, because I think when we think of the term fitness, sometimes it can be an intimidating term for some, because like, what does fitness mean? Right. And fitness means, in how we like to look at it, is being proactive about your health, about your mental health, and like being aware of the importance of mental strength. So I'm just curious, what do you think of when you hear the term mental fitness?
Yeah, I love this question. And we talk a lot about this in my household, with me being a music therapist, and then my husband's a school counselor. So we see, a lot of adolescents and teens and even adults that are struggling with societal pressures, the effects of the pandemic, and, just the pace of life and work and the impacts that has on, our mental well-being. So there's such an emphasis in society and for medical professionals to eat well and maintain physical fitness. And my husband and I both grew up as athletes and in, competitive athletic families. And so we really see that as only one part of the whole puzzle. We try and implement and practice not only physical health and wellness, but also mental, emotional, and spiritual. There's a lot that plays into it. So when I think of mental fitness, I think of being cognizant and aware of our cognitive processes and our emotional health and well-being. I think someone who is aware of their mental strength and practices mental fitness, uses creativity and problem solving, accepts accountability for their actions, and has a growth mindset whenever they're approaching difficult tasks. And they also hold themselves accountable for their actions and decisions, which in education we don't see a lot of anymore. So I think being mentally fit and having mental fitness are two very different things. I see mental fitness kind of as a continuum and something that we must continue to kind of practice and perfect, just like professional athletes and professional musicians do with their practice. They don't just stop just because they're the best. They continue to hone their skills and practice and improve. So I think mental fitness requires constant attention and practice and self-awareness.
No, and I love that. And I think to your point, and another guest of ours said mental fitness is a continuum, because I realized that, like, you have good days and you have not good days, right? Like, that's just life. But a lot of people think that you always, like, you have to be always good, but mental fitness is not about that. It's just being able, it's the mindset of having that, okay, like being mentally self-aware and understanding that it is a continuum. So curious there is, how do you use music therapy to strengthen the mental fitness of others?
Yeah, so we really work on that a lot, and it depends on the clients that we're working with. So if we're working with a child with ADHD who's struggling to sustain attention, we might work with them to increase their attention control. So we might provide them with a couple different percussive instruments and talk about the musical cues they're going to hear us playing. And whenever they hear that musical cue, they have to switch their attention to the other instruments and play them. So there's a lot of attention issues that they're, really attending to there. So they have to change randomly based on the musical cues that they're listening to. So they're actively listening to us, but then also, working on their attention with the instruments that they're working with. So changing their instrument, maybe changing the pitch based on what we're playing, and also changing the volume to match what we're doing. So the act of doing this is really mentally exhausting, and engaging in activities like this helps build mental fitness over time. And then also in some of our other facilities that we work with and with some of our individual clients, we're working to help them process trauma and depression and grief and addiction. And talk therapy allows a person to speak about their topics, but it may be difficult to discuss. So music kind of allows for that kind of creative approach and non-intimidating approach. So we might do some lyric analysis and identify song lyrics that correlate to their experience. We might do some songwriting, and just working with them over time to, one, build coping strategies that are going to be beneficial in their life, and to create, strategies to kind of process through some of the emotions and the struggles that they encounter on a daily basis.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting point. Like, I mean, I'm someone who manages anxiety on a daily basis, and then also have ADHD. And I find it fascinating because I'm like, oh God, I wish, no shade to my parents, but it's a continuum, right? We're all learning. Like, I think the, like, I guess you would say, I don't know what the right term is, so let me know, but I think the world of, I guess, let's just say it's brain medicine that we have, right? Like your particular field has so evolved over the years, at least when I was a child, that like that type of therapy is something that I wish I had when I was struggling with why is my brain not working in my mind like everyone else's? So those exercises that you're saying, like, they are making my brain hurt right now, but I feel like they probably were such a great, like, way to strengthen the mental fitness ADHD muscle, and that just sounds, I love that. So I guess, where I've spoken, I mentioned earlier, Cecily, and, it's perfect because that goes into the next topic around, we spoke about music with her and songwriting, but we've also had someone who focused on art therapy. So I'm curious, how do you think music therapy relates to art therapy, and what lessons do you think there are to be learned about yourself through music?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of intersectionality in art therapy and music therapy, just because they are both creative art therapies. And, I think with creating physical art, there's, the act of creating it, which is very kinesthetic and sensory, and viewing it and talking about it. And music's very similar in the sense that we're creating music, and it's a very sensory experience, whether it's auditory or proprioceptive. And then with physical art, you view it, but with our music, we can go back and listen to it. We can record it, listen to it, and then go back and kind of talk about it and discuss it. And so I think both are a wonderful way of being able to cope with emotional conflicts and increase our self-awareness. So I think both really have some intersectionalities, and while they're both very different, I think they both provide a lot of aspects, and I think it just depends on what the client's preferences are. They more of a physical art kind of individual, or do they really enjoy engaging in music and working through that to process?
And just a question here too, because I've always been kind of fascinated. I've been poly on my own for about 5 years now, and coming up in March. But corporate America, which we've covered on We Are Everyone, really focusing on corporations, because particularly in the pandemic, working, 9 to 5, you boundaries are completely crossed between, work life and personal life, and however you want to look at work and personal. But I feel like, mental health and therapy and all these aspects are, you don't see someone sometimes at work as their full self. So I'm curious, have you ever, what is your take on integrating some of these types of practices at a corporation? So while maybe they're not maybe they're not sitting there with team members or whichever of, saying their deepest, darkest secrets, but I think it's like when you show up at 9 a.m. and you also have been dealing with who knows on this side, like how can the art of music therapy, how can, the practice of music therapy kind of help our corporate America?
Yeah, so we've actually seen a huge uptick in our requests to come and speak to corporations. We've spoken at NASA about using music to improve the quality of life. We've been asked to come to corporate events where they're doing some bonding and team building. So we have seen, especially since the pandemic, a major increase in corporations caring about the mental wellness of their employees, and then also really kind of focusing on the self-care aspect. So it's interesting, just because I think the pandemic has caused, like you said, there's no separation, especially if you're working from home. And now, so even more, kind of like the beginning of the pandemic, we're kind of experiencing that again, where kids are having to stay home and quarantine, and parents are working from home and having to manage that. So we really work with those corporations on, identifying healthy ways to engage in music. And what we do is, we provide strategies and ways that they can incorporate it. And then, if it requires more attention, we provide them opportunities for referrals to our company.
No, and I love that. It's kind of like one of those things where, I mean, not saying that you have to, but let me put this way. If you work at a company, you're full time, and they provide you health insurance, that's one of the benefits, then they kind of are somewhat responsible for your health. So It's one of those things where maybe you have a corporate event, kind of just scratch the surface and kind of introduce it. But then maybe that's an offering from there, is that, hey, like if this really resonated with you, we'd love to offer sessions with the organization of, whichever, with the practice, right, if you would like to explore further. And I think that's something that's like very different now, where I feel like everyone used to just, it's like social impact. They slapped on a social impact mission, but they didn't actually embrace it. companies can say that they care about your health and mental wellness, but like, how are they actually implementing that? So I just wanted to bring that up, as that has been something that we've covered on the show. And hence why I really want to bring certified licensed professionals on, because, you know, we could talk, you know, walks, remember how do you flex your mental fitness muscle? Walks are great. Do not get me wrong, but adding some music therapy to the walk, like, you know, like that's sweetness, right there. So I guess you personally, you know, from an extent of, because I remember when I was about to start with a new CBT therapist, and I haven't found one yet just because of the pandemic, and it's been hard to find therapists in the pandemic. But the first session I had with one in the beginning was very like it was like we were both, she was talking about the groceries that were being delivered to her place. And I'm like, okay, I'm still paying a nice amount of money here. And like, I understand we're both human. So my question is for you, like, how have you kind of evolved as like as a business owner and a mom and a wife, and as just a magical woman outside of your business? How have you kind of continued to like strengthen your mental fitness muscle and, you know, be kind of kind to yourself, and also potentially, you know, help use music therapy to also, you know, you know, not heal, but kind of soothe yourself?
Yeah. So we all know that, you know, being a business owner and an entrepreneur it's tough work. It's a 24/7 job. There's no real time off. Even when you are off, you're still getting emails and text messages. And I definitely experienced that during my maternity leave. But being aware of that, I've really had to practice my mental fitness and my ability to set boundaries and learn to say no to things. And, you know, two books were really influential in being able to say no. And that was The Power of a Positive No by William Ury, and then The Best Yes by Lisa Turkist. But it really, I really had to focus on the yeses and not so much the nos, but what was important to me. And so I saw this during my pregnancy. I decided to stop seeing individual clients myself and just focus on the administrative side of my business. And it was hard just being a natural people pleaser and helper, to really do that. But what I saw was my business was growing because I was able to focus my attention on making connections in the community and connecting with our clients on a different level. So being able to kind of pull back, I did a lot of volunteering on state association executive boards. And all of that. So kind of being able to pull back on what I've been doing, and really able to kind of turn that and focus it into my business has been incredibly important for me. And then also for my family, because I want to be there for the big moments and even the little moments too. So I now am focusing on the things I'm passionate about and that are going to help me grow my business and better serve the community. So being able to say no, was something that I worked really hard in my 20s, and learning to say yes to the things that I wanted to do.
I love that. I feel like I just read The Mastery of Love because actually of Cecily, who was on, she recommended that. And I love the 4 agreements because that's like more of my self, but then the outward self, once I'm more have the mastery of love for myself, then it's like I feel the power of saying no. Those are going to be my two next books that I'm going to definitely read. I learned what boundaries actually were in the pandemic, so that's always a fun one. All right, so last but not least, what is your? I mean, it could be your song, it could be anything. But what's your go-to song that helps you when you need a mental boost?
Yeah, I have a couple, but I would say probably like the one that I really turn to a lot is "I Want to Dance with Somebody" by Whitney Houston.
Classic, love it.
Yes, it's just such a feel-good song and just really puts you kind of in a great headspace. And the other one is "River of Dreams" by Billy Joel. So it's just kind of an upbeat, feel-good song. But then throughout my life, there's been so many songs that have been, you know, a part of different parts of my life. So sometimes I'll turn to those, especially depending on my mood. But those two are definitely kind of my pump up songs.
I love it. Yeah. You can't go wrong with I Want to Dance with Somebody by Wendy Houston. You just can't.
Yep.
It's like, no matter like where you are at, like, even if you listen to it during some time that was not the best, it's like, it's always pleasant.
Yep.
Well, awesome. Well, I wanted to, I could talk to you for hours, but unfortunately I do like to keep my podcast interviews concise and tight, but I would like to give you the opportunity. Is there anything else that you wanted to leave with our audience before we wrapped up our interview today?
No, just really, expressing that, focusing on mental wellness and flexing that mental fitness and that mental strength. And music can be a really powerful tool in doing so. So we're accepting new clients, and we do provide virtual services and in-person services at this time. So we'd be happy to support anybody that might need that little bit of extra support.
Well, this one's been on the tip of my tongue. That's music to my ears, because I feel like everything else is like, I feel like everywhere else that you've been seeing for so long has been like, we're not accepting new clients. We're not accepting new clients. We're not. It's like, yes, let's go, Kelsi. We're accepting new clients. That's awesome. So I'll make sure to refer people to you, because I love therapy. Awesome. Well, I am your host, Jenn Sherman. We have a fabulous guest today, Kelsi Tafaro. She is the executive director of NeuroSound Music Therapy, and they are taking and accepting clients. And you have just been a beautiful soul on our show today. So thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning into another episode of We Are Everyone. You can subscribe to We Are Everyone on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and also be sure to visit www.pivotalmoments.org to learn more about the organization. And we also want to hear what mental wellness means to you. So you can follow us on social media, submit your video, and we will catch you next time. Thank you so much.